Regionals presented by Capital One here at Vogel Park in Fayetteville, Arkansas. The skies have cleared, at least it's Arkansas and Oklahoma State. So they need just the one victory to move on. 11 teams have already moved on out of the 16 that will play next weekend in Super Regionals. Oklahoma State, which has been to the World Series 5 straight years, 2 wins here tonight. We're glad to welcome you to the booth.
Indiana, and she was able to get 2 2-run home runs. Those extra base hits come
around 3 o'clock Central. The Razorbacks and the Cowgirls has driven in a couple of runs, and Atalia Rijo.
Yeah, she's been really hot, and you love to see that in the bottom of your lineup because she's been leading off for them to be able to turn around and get to the top, and that's where the difference has been made.
And Ruby Malin,
a lot better with her yesterday, so we'll see if she can turn things around.
Well, this crowd has come into the ballpark, out of the ballpark, and now returned. Your Sunday plans, leaving the house somewhere around 2 o'clock for the first pitch. And now 5 hours and 15 minutes later, the biggest game of the season. Johnson with 3 defenders on the left side of the infield, still finds a way to get on base. Rachel Hadhoud, who they bring in from left field, a former shortstop at New Mexico, can't handle it. It's an error on Hadhoud.
Well, we have seen Oklahoma State go to this shift on defense multiple times for certain hitters, and it is the speed of Johnson that causes them to make this move. Ball hops up. Hadhoud, like you mentioned, does not normally play, had in the past, but she's an outfielder here for Oklahoma unless it's a situation like that, so not able to come up with it.
On the left fielder, Hadhoud. Kramer to the plate.
Minions has spawned.
Arkansas had a no-hit win over St. Louis, 10-0 the final score. That was the entry into the NCAA tournament ever. They won the A-10, and then yesterday the Razorbacks with that 6-5 win. Courtney Deifel. This team has had
When we talk to the coaches, and they have just said that's something they have not done. So it was crucial, and it's important at this point in the season to have a comeback like that.
About dinner time here in Northwest Arkansas. 3-1 to Kramer. She's drawn 3 walks. Best in their 2 games, behind only the 6th from Bree Ellis. They've done a great job turning those walks into runs as well. So for the weekend now, 15 walks, and in the first 2 games of the 14 that they drew, 7 turned into runs. They've got first and second, nobody out for Bree Ellis.
Well, and I think for them to be able to get the Bree Ellis coming up, you want to get on base in front of her, but they are thinking we need to score early in this game. They only scored 1 through the first 5 innings the first time they met yesterday.
One of the big trouble spots for Ruby Malin in her first outing here this weekend was not having her control. It wasn't so much that her drop ball wasn't working the way that she wanted to, but she wasn't hitting her spots. She's not a hitter you can afford to miss against, but it's a 1 hopper to short, and after a quick pause, Bloodworth realizes the easy out and the best out was over at third base.
Yeah, that ball is hit right at Bloodworth. It looks like she maybe considered to try to turn to, and then I think that's the right play in that situation. You get the lead runner, get the short out.
We said to Courtney Deifel before the game, would you have believed that you'd be the team that's 2-0 if Bree Ellis didn't have a hit? She goes, well, what about the one about Courtney Day? Because when you hitters behind her, Courtney Day and Kaylee Wyckoff,
The protection behind her, so many teams are electing to go away from Bree Ellis.
Đúng à, lại chết rồi. Kiếm con cua à? Ám ăn trước mặt nó à? Rồi dù bùa nó lên máu nhanh thế kìa.
Day yesterday extended her on base streak to 17 in a row. We're a year away from the game. Last year, so she thought I'd never come back and play. Felt like a lifetime ago. One down, melee. Howard is right there.
Inside. Throws the ball hard, so you really got to be able to pick that up. And this situation, now you have 2 strikes on you. I just need to be ready for the rise. All that's a piece that option to really kind of load it once it gets ahead of you.
What Kenny Gajewski said was her best performance in the regionals too. Yesterday, 2 2/3 against Indiana, scoreless, not just 2 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. He told us in the dugout. 4 hours ago. Looks like the pressure's on Arkansas here for them to try and come up with a win. That's in the left field. Hat Hoots up with it. Throw to the plate is a gem, and they get the out at home. Kramer is retired on the throw from Hat Hoot. But Courtney Deifel wants a challenge, and she may have a good case that the foot may have beaten the tag.
Yeah, I also feel like potentially on contact, it looks like the ball might have been juggled a little bit.
Arkansas is challenging the call of out at home plate.
Hat Hoot played it as well as she could out there in left field. Came up charging and throwing. So this goes to Central Replay Review in Pittsburgh. And here we'll get our first look at the long review.
Well, she fields it perfectly and comes up and just makes
Nó cấm lên ấy à, nó cấm lên
to be able to count the ball. And you're right, I think that
cấm lên chốt à?
tag is placed. Does the tag come
Không sao nhỉ?
high on the inside leg and that
Kéo
front
lên đâu?
foot? Does it reach before the tag is placed?
Vào cái này viên canh không?
Indisputable video evidence to overturn the
Lại lên canh không?
field. And based on that, you can say, well, there's a case with the right foot getting in. We don't know whether the left glove hand from Audrey Schneidmiller gets Kramer's leg, though, before the right foot comes in.
An ally has
Địt mẹ mà ôi, chạy mấy lần thì biến hổ mà cào là xong rồi.
Placement, like you're saying, it just does that foot make contact first, and it's that
Chịu rồi.
knee of where she is
Tí máu luôn mà cứ để hình người đánh.
tag on the body. Could not have made a more perfect throw. You know, you wonder, we've had rain here, so you do wonder as that ball was bouncing. I think the fact that it was on the ground a long time, it obviously made it a little easier. Sometimes you wonder if the ball in the outfield is going to skip, but really played nicely by Hat Hoot.
And also, credit to the grounds crew for the work that they put in to get this field ready and as quick about of a time as they did with how much rain came through here. There was hail locally,
killing spree.
not necessarily here at the ballpark, but staff members from both teams helped to get this field ready because everybody knows the importance of getting this game in today. You don't want to have to do it tomorrow and have less rest against either Arizona or coming out of the Tucson. So certainly there's bound to be some residual moisture on the field too, which can also impact a throw for the outfielder when she's picking up the ball. It's not going to be
Thằng lùn nó khỏe phết đấy.
First thing you do, especially if it's early in the morning when the field's wet, if there's been rain, you want to make sure you're touching the grass, you're making sure your hands are dry. You want to know what you're going to get with the ball that's hitting the dirt. So one opportunity which is more likely to skip than a ball that stays on the ground.
Ồ, mẹ thấy đầu thế.
She just continues her streak of really seeing the ball well. And I think even, you know, I mentioned when Ruby gets ahead as a pitcher. A lot of times she'll go to the rise ball, but I do think they might kind of change things up. The rise ball has not been as effective, and with these hitters, you don't want them to elevate. And so she stayed down with Day, and Day did exactly what you're supposed to do with the drop ball and turned on it.
Đầu thất đi tục.
Big moment here. Just 4 batters into the game for Arkansas, hoping to take the lead. And despite playing at their home park,
Giao hành
they're
được.
the road team in this game. If it were a game 7, they would then be the home team once again. Relay with the relaying of the ball back from the central location in Pittsburgh. We'll get that momentarily. We'll get on the horn with Steve Gould, the home plate ump. That's a little bit more suspense after a 4-hour and 15-minute rain delay.
Yeah, I think this game is just starting. This is either going to be the second out of the inning or a run for the Razorbacks to start off. And I think it's important that Coach Deiffel has to get this reviewed.
Dạ, chiến không ba rồi à?
Challenge at home plate about his escape.
Ít của 55 là địt nhỉ.
That's Arkansas's first.
Một 4 là địt nhỉ, thấy ngu neo tổ nó. Giờ máu nó gọi gần như phun cây mà địt nhỉ, mỗi phát hổ cào nó rẽ cái cào.
17-7 when scoring first. And although they put up a run first in the game against
Ôi, chết rồi.
Cowgirls, they felt a bit. I think it's big when the first inning to make a statement.
Nobody's been better at driving in runs this weekend.
52 AD thì không đúng.
6 knocked in 2 games. Finds its way over to the Arkansas section in their dugout. And to go back to the number we saw moments ago about the number of runs and walks. Reagan Kramer walks, she scored for 15 walks. 8 runs off of those.
No.
Runs driven in by the junior Kelly Wyckoff. Came in their Friday game against St. Louis, which also tied an Arkansas NCAA tournament record with 5 runs batted in and 3 hits.
You mentioned Ruby Malin. Things not working as much, and a lot of it right now is just being able to get that release point and be under control. And you get to postseason and hitters, they're gonna be more patient. They're going to make you come into the zone.
Riley Crandall at the ready in the bullpen down the right field. The shortstop, Bloodworth with the flip, Davis with the turn, not in time. A second fielder's choice. Gives the Razorbacks first.
Rồi nó lên là mỗi đồ đấy mà nó bắn đau thật.
Takes Day off the base pass. Ellis over to third. Wyckoff.
Nó phải tạo hồi máu chứ.
Freshman with second team All SEC this season.
Bắn đau lắm. Mà thấy nó bắn đau lắm. Nó lên hồi nhiều máu lắm.
It's a high pressure moment, a high pressure night. Ruby Malin.
Có gì không? Thế nó bắn hồi nhiều máu quá.
Continues to contribute without having a base hit in the postseason, at least the NCAA tournament, and it's 2-0 Arkansas.
But if I'm a Razorback hitter that I'm coming up behind Ellis, I'm going to do my job.
Nó ra mít đấy.
You've seen Ella McDowell able to just barrel up another ball inside. They're not trying to do too much with it. Just meet the barrel in the ball, not trying to lift it, staying through it. Yesterday, her big hit was a double to the right center fence. So I think she's popping right now. At this point, she's popping Courtney Day.
Đầu ấy.
Yesterday, both of them went right center, and today, both of them to start off going to left field with hits and RBIs.
Courtney Dykle said we knew she was special early on. As the fans here call the Hogs for the 8th, 9th, 10th time today.
Dịch nó xứ chết thằng Giang.
Doesn't feel like it'll be the last either, but first 2 weeks of it, Bubba McDowell was the SEC Freshman of the Week, the first ever to do it in consecutive weeks at Arkansas. Breakout series of history 13 against Florida, which has advanced into Super Regionals for an SEC versus SEC matchup. They'll take on Georgia next week. Texas has advanced from the SEC. Tennessee, Alabama, and Oklahoma is another all-SEC matchup.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Đầu thế. Hay. Đâu chứ là gì ăn xứ.
Fouls away an 0-2 from Maven. I think if we've discerned any
Tí cho cái blue.
here for 4 hours and watched a lot of softball, we watched a lot of softball yesterday, 3 games, we saw extra innings, we saw a 12-run inning from Oklahoma State, and then we watched the thriller between Texas A&M and Liberty. A game, no matter how it starts, is never truly over. That's off of Malin's leg, and the Cowgirls have no play. It's an infield single for Riho, so she's now 6 of 7 in the regional. Bases loaded, 2 out, and Kennedy Miller's going to make it at least 8 down.
Okay.
Really, Ruby is lucky this ball ends up hitting off of her foot because it keeps it in the infield. Bloodworth comes over and fields that ball, and a run is not able to come across and score on that. And so it's not as hurt as much with that, but I'll tell you, Riho, she is another player in this lineup who stays hot and is really barreling up the ball well.
Coaching really gets magnified here. An elimination game for Oklahoma State. They can't lose. Arkansas can, and there would be a 7th game. But every moment is a high
Bố mày sợ gì? Bố mày sợ gì? Bố mày không sợ đâu. Mình xin.
And so from a coaching perspective, it's deciding when to make substitutions. You only know in retrospect whether you made the right
Bắt đầu
choice.
lại đánh kem rồi.
But what goes
Thì đã là chơi ăn thiện. Chơi đâu?
no.
What you do, you try to decide like how long am I going to
Anh đầu đấy.
doing a nice job.
Mất cái thông bướm nó đấy.
He has a plan coming in. He's just looking to right now get out of this, get in the dugout. I know he thinks this team will have a chance to put up a lot of runs as well.
Malin was
Ăn.
during the delay, but he handles getting ready
Yeah.
for a high-pressure moment in a different way. But
Yeah, no,
if you watched her with her teammates, whether it was in the dugout or in the batting cages down the left field line, you never know what was around the corner.
Anh cho hát quang rồi lên cái gì nữa?
30 pitch first inning, though, a difficult start for the
Lên cái
junior.
gì nữa?
When you just never know.
Anh lên được thế?
The player who's
Có khỏe.
a lot of emotion. She has done so well in the circle all season long for the Cowgirls.
Lên cái gì nữa?
Very happy. But also when there's more pressure, when you're coming from behind and you're in the opposing team's stadium, you just never know how you're going to respond.
Còn
And
sắp
she
cổ.
misses
Nó là cái
on
gì?
the 3-1 pitch. She can't believe it. Kennedy Miller with the RBI.
Tí nữa em cũng
And
trâu
it's
phết đấy, đùa
3-0
đấy.
Arkansas.
Mà phải ăn ngồi đồng cuối đã.
Ruby Malin.
Em đã thử dặn ngồi đồng cuối đá. Ôi, nó là ngồi.
It hits the outside corner about waist high. And I'm sure Schneidmiller behind the plate plate is asking, okay, is that missing up? Is it missing out?
Cũng này.
And as a hitter, until you have 2 strikes, that's a pitch that you can lay off of.
Giá mấy ta mất cái tô biến, mất cái team thì
Davis rounds out the first time through the Razorback 9. Second baseman
thằng ghép về ra đấy.
Big strike one from Malin as the bases remain juiced.
Không còn. Vừa hút thì chạy mà.
First can go a long way for Arkansas in trying to demoralize Oklahoma State.
Well, just knowing the fight that Oklahoma State had last night, I mean, they have so much respect, both of these teams, for each other, that they really had to battle it out with Indiana as a very good offensive team. And so they knew they were going to get a battle here, but I think if you're the Razorbacks, like, this is what you need to do. Like, you need to put the nail in the coffin right off the bat as much as possible.
Leave no doubt.
Kéo thịt nào. Mua không đúng đấy.
Inning that they came back and tied it up, and the 8th that they walked it off. And so you try to keep rolling with how you end it.
Once again, Malin gets the 2 strikes.
Không đâu hết rồi. Đi chùa. Thiết không chín.
Back to her last game preceding the start of this tournament, she pitched against Oklahoma in the SEC tournament. The last 6 innings allowed
Đầu.
optimism. This Oklahoma State lineup that has already shown that it's capable of putting up crooked numbers.
Có choáng rồi nó chậm.
Winner here from this regional takes on the winner of the Tucson regional. And it looks like they're going 7, at least with the way things have started out in the early going there, with Arizona needing to win 2. And they're up 8-1 over Ole Miss, bottom of the 3rd inning.
Well, I think with how Ole Miss was hitting yesterday, 5 home runs, I believe. Like, you know, you have got to put up a lot of runs to make yourself have the best opportunity to pull out that to force a game 2.
Rebs were rocking the Rita with all those home runs.
Yes, they were.
Delgadillo 2 for 9 here this weekend. A couple of stolen bases. That's what she does best.
Nó 2-6 đấy. Gần một mình.
Start for Robin Herring.
Well, and that's a changeup we're talking about. You have a lefty speed in Delgadillo, and in that situation, a lot of times pitchers aren't going to go to that changeup necessarily, but it is one of Herring's best pitches, and should you just pulls the string a little bit, that ball has a lot of movement. Now the key
Rất là khỏe mà.
she throws it off and just to lay off the one that is out of the zone. That was the ball.
Làm đất vừa làm lửa nó khỏe đấy. Con là đấy ăn xuống. Kéo lấy được trụ thì ăn được không? Hoặc ăn được không mà tấn công tông.
Sometimes it works in the bullpen and not in the game, sometimes it's vice versa, and so, you know, we'll
Thì
see how
nó căng máu quá em sợ không ăn được thì nó tông. Đây là rồi, chờ tông nhá. Chạy em bỏ trụ để nó xuống để ăn thua. Thằng nôn này. Đầu ấy, nghịch này mùa đâu. Thằng chịu đựng lấy đầu thế. Thôi rút lui đây. Nó lấy trụ.
that we had the entire game ended in 6 that you weren't sure when it was going to be over.
24 combined runs. NCAA tournament game. Most ever 31. Wasn't all that long ago. 21. This was a battle.
Thì tại em tanh nói nhanh chết thế.
31.
Đợi tí sắp có rồi. Tầm về sau là nồi đồng cuối á.
Because the most runs ever in one
Really good setup. That at that where Hassler has been so hot. To go to the backdoor
Kẻ đau ấy.
outside corner, then go up in the zone and make her look up, and then to come in on her hands.
Chơi Victor á.
That's the key is to try to keep them to
Anh đéo về đâu.
one side of the plate and be able to get them guessing it.
No doubt she's got revenge on her mind too. After giving up 5 runs to the
Không
Cowgirls,
gì mà cả nó hết. Bù thai. Ok.
Oklahoma scoring 7 during the regular season. Rosie Davis was all Big 12.
Ra đây, có tôi nào ra đây.
She left off after a great freshman season. Just missed on that one as Reagan Johnson clasps it in the leather. The inning is over. So Arkansas scores
Nó văn
3.
làm gì?
Oklahoma State sends 3.
This inning, hitting that ball so hard to third baseman Talon Edwards. She's so tough. Yesterday we saw her using the soft slap. She told us she likes to hit the ball hard. Her dad told her, hey, take the pitcher's head off. Like, you want to make sure you're slapping it hard. She's able to get on base with that.
Exit velocity and 2 at bats. Maybe
Vãi. Thì chờ mang tay đi solo cứ ở chạy chịu.
playing on the left fielder. Reagan Kramer walked forward to run. She got driven in by
Có
Courtney.
chết phải chết một cách oai hùng. Bố nó đi.
Third-year starter out in left field from the state of Kansas.
Tàu chưa. Tàu lắm, nó còn dòng bánh đâu á.
As a senior, that goes a long way. The
Yeah, we got a chance to talk to Reagan Kramer. She's Jimmy on the team. Reagan Johnson, there's Johnny. So you got Johnny and Jimmy at the top of the line. Yes, they have these nicknames, but honestly, like their personalities, just really you could tell, like they match. And they said this team has been so much fun. It's so different than teams in the past. It's most competitive, but we also have the most fun together.
Your inhibitor
A
has
team
been
that wants to
destroyed.
accept coaching. So they started their SEC play, losing 5 of their first 6.
Your turret has been
And
destroyed.
in the locker room, no one is providing a strength. But you can understand the message coming from Courtney that well, we got to get it together.
Có thêm đủ đây. Đến giờ đâu.
Strikeout for Ruby Malin in her first 11 batters she's faced.
Chịu thầy rồi.
The message to heart, and the results are self-evident after that because they turned things around and then
Đánh cho nó đi,
6-0,
cho nó đỡ buồn đi.
dropping
Mày đi ngủ đi.
6 games.
Đánh đi, đánh cho nó đỡ buồn.
I think that
I should say 5.
tells you a lot to be able to go in 5
Đánh đi, đánh vui được rồi.
SEC.
Còn thở là còn nữa. Hãy ra ra đi, cho nó sớm nhé. Đi,
Mày đi ngủ đi.
Alice didn't hold up.
hãy ra đi, đánh một trận nữa ngủ. Ý đi cho nó dễ hay.
All that tells me is when you've turned your season around like that and finished strong, it's about being prepared for postseason. And you know, you want to get to this point being really battle tested, having those moments that you have to come back, having times where what do you do after a loss, you know, and they've really handled it very well this season.
Đi đây.
One of the things Bree Ellis told us on Thursday
Không mò không hay.
was that after their game against
Rơi cơ đấy hay này.
tournament, which they lost, was that they know that early runs are never going to be enough. So you got to think that
Hay được
not
thì
being all that long ago, they put 3 on the board in the first. She comes to the plate, and this team wants more. Good speed over at first as well.
Well, we've been seeing throughout the entire country the difference of it.
Ở đây còn gì trong đây còn gì khởi nhất.
So that idea, even if you're expected to be the team, even if you have home field advantage, like none
Quần
of that
tanh.
plays into it because all it takes is just a spark and a quick rally.
Trong đây phải đánh con mực kia là con khởi nhất.
26
Còn ai lao?
goals this year for Ellis, tied for the SEC record.
Còn đây
Do trình chứ không phải do tượng.
One more will put her
một
alone
tiếng
at the top.
còn mấy đánh thì không thà chạy được, đập Putin thì
Players who did it in
không thà chạy đâu.
2018, Bailey Hemphill at Alabama and Mia Davidson at Mississippi State. But I think she'd be perfectly happy to go hitless here this weekend.
Không có sợ lùi mà nó đau lắm, sẽ động là nó vẫn ngứa ngứa.
Postseason.
Ở đâu? Săn má hay gì đâu?
Cái sợ lùi ấy.
When you take what you're given,
Thôi
I
mình
think it's important to
mình đi ăn là tiếng rượu về đến ngõ là vào biển ngã trượt chân phát mà ăn rau muống cái nữa thì nó sẹo mà.
over anxious, especially when you're thinking, I want to help my team out, I want to do my part.
Động mà nó vẫn ngứa vẫn đau.
Excited for the fact that Malin is coming right at her.
Third 3-2 count for Ruby Malin.
Ôi nhỉ. Mà ra là nó không hay.
Comes inside and clips her. And Ellis finds a way to make the most out of it anyway.
Yeah, you mix pictures up, and that one I think just gets a little bit away from her.
Ôi
It
cắt.
doesn't feel good if you're free Ellis physically, but it feels good mentally and
Bố
emotionally.
ngủ đây.
Yourself on base. And you know, I love talking to
Đừng sao.
things happen, not as an individual, and it really is reaching a lot of people as well.
Hay không? Em có đẳng cấp luôn. Đứng gọn ra.
You've got the best base stealer on the team in second base. Hottest hitter right now.
Chỉ là có. Em có đẳng cấp luôn. Ê.
Hassler and Audrey Schneimiller really splitting time behind the plate. So both of them working as battery mates with the Calville pitching staff and both of them doing a nice job behind the plate.
Ăn rồi.
Pops up the 1-1 pitch. Alan Edwards holds on second base.
Phải lên rào cái ngó đây là thằng trụ đồ là phải là rào cái ngó thì nó mới được.
Like more settled right now. Like, you know, just she is a player who, you know, nod her head, gonna have passion, she gets a strikeout, but really right now she seems a little bit more
Cắt chết mình luôn. Đây đây.
Assuredly making her work.
Cắt chết mình.
30 pitches in the first inning.
À thằng em đi theo em là em không bao giờ chết được.
That during the second had not been easy. Not what you expect. Now no. This is where I have to make expeditions for herself. These pitches have not been chased. That really started to
Ôm từ đốt nó phát là mày hết thôi máu. Mày hết rồi nó.
strikes with movement. And so, you know, sometimes you really get ahead and you get into the chase, and that's something that Malin is used to having happen. And I think it's also when they're not, and maybe it's really a matter of, okay, if I throw this pitch at the break and they can go, okay, I have to put my right? I don't like it. But then if I'm moving it flat, that's a different story. Just figuring out what you're doing.
คนเลยไม่เกี่ยวมากเกี่ยวเกี่ยวติดมาไม่
Originally committed to play at Fresno State. They had a coaching change. And at Texas coach who play a team that lost it. Yes, a coaching change. Spent 2 years at Texas Tech. On Florida State.
A lot of movement around after the series as a freshman in Washington, I now more they're on and Little League marquee players.
How about the gap too? This is what we love finding out as these teams.
โอ้มีช้าไหมนะ
For Texas Tech, they're going to Supers for the first time. Florida State,
เดี๋ยวหรอก
7 years ago, playing in Supers for the 12th time. We talked about this 3-2 Carolina, and a lot of her players with her. Some of her best players from Charlotte. That's a big first year there.
Yeah, she is
อืม
really a star. I've seen as a coach. I got to call her regional last year, and it was so impressive how she handles things and how she works her staff and how they respond to how she coaches. And I was not surprised when I heard South Carolina got her that she was. I just said I think she's going to do big things there.
Converse leading it off and moves it over to Brie Ellis. You and I were talking, we had 4 hours to chat before the game. And we said, tongue in cheek, the hardest part of that move for Ashley Chastain is a hyphenated Chastain Twitter. Her husband is the baseball coach at Charlotte. Now they're separated by 90 minutes. Find your way in this profession and make it work. Alan Edwards, high in the air for Wyckoff. Got it. Great start. Robin Heron. This regional here in Fayetteville, the last to get underway today. And out in Eugene, Oregon, that's exactly what the Ducks need at their home field because they need to win 2 today. So they're up 7 over Stanford in the 6th, trying to force a decisive Game 7. And Texas A&M, the #1 national seed, has an early lead over Liberty.
Well, it was
Robin Heron is through 2 innings, and she's thrown 17 pitches. The junior from Tampa is absolutely dialed in.
Rampage.
You're him.
On June 6th,
How do I start doing what you do?
the John Wick franchise spins off.
Looks like you already have.
Ủa nè
month or get 3.99% APR for 72 months. See your SoCal Hyundai dealer.
Introducing Wegovy through Hers. Ready to lose up to 20% of your body weight or more? Through Hers, this FDA-approved treatment for weight loss is available for 50% off. Now you can feel confident about losing weight and keeping it off, all at an affordable price. Hers offers access to personalized weight loss treatment plans that promote sustained long-term weight loss and improve your overall health. Get weight loss results that last with Wegovy and Hers. Start today at WordHers.com.
The best new cars. Honda. Make the best pre-owned cars. Honda certified pre-owned vehicles. Get the best value with Honda certified pre-owned vehicles. Get a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty and first-year oil changes on us. Plus, every certified pre-owned Honda goes through a 182-point inspection and is reconditioned like new. Like factory transmissions with genuine parts. Search your local Honda dealer today.
Women's College World Series returns to Oklahoma City.
Đúng.
That's swinging off Mark. That is
Siêu rút rồi mày.
up against Thursday, May 29th, noon Eastern on ESPN. 3 NCAA championships for Leah Amico, but that's not all. There's 3 Olympic gold medals as well. And you know what? This one is not
Kia.
Looks pretty like it's 1994 when Arizona won the Women's College World Series.
Well, you know, I know it was a long time ago, but the picture, thank goodness they put me in color because it was black and white. They were letting me stand out a little bit. Okay, that swing too. The ugliest thing that won a ball game against one of my Olympic teammates in Danielle Henderson. So, worst swing ever, but somehow found the hole. And honestly, that picture, you guys aren't going to believe it. Somebody watching that picture of me trying to catch that ball, it was a home run rob. That was the Women's College World Series field. Nobody believed it, but that was at the outfield fence.
Ella McDowell, a screamer to the base of the wall. She wants 2 bases and gets it easily. Razorbacks only need to win 1 and they're playing like there's only going to be 1 game tonight.
Lại thua mình. Lại thua anh kinh lắm là thua mình.
The ball in on our hands, and you know, this game is tough. You don't see a long contact ball. McDowell doing this, lifting that ball, just meaning it allowed him to
Toán đầu mày.
able to get that ball.
Toán đầu mày.
You gotta take some pitch. You come up with that side of the plate you're gonna look for.
Patty's 2 head coach at Oklahoma State there at the top step of the dugout. Looking at him, the bunker board behind him.
Kìa, nó ra cái này. 4 đây.
And it says that's down the line. And it's McDowell around third. She scores. So McDowell and Rio are doing back-to-back exactly what CTFB was written on the market board.
Nha, không đùa đâu.
The ball.
Well, I tell you right now, Rio is the one that I also, between the last couple games,
Nó đánh như anh vào với nó đẩy về chơi sao?
they are seeing the ball well. Before it was a pulled pitch, and this time Riho takes this pitch outside corner, elevated a little bit, doesn't try to do too much, and she ends up, and all the way McDowell was going. They were going to force Hat Hoot to make a perfect throw. She doesn't have a chance when she bobbles that ball.
And that's going to be it here for Ruby Malin. She has pitched this year in all but 12 of their games. But I think it's safe to say that the pitcher who's had more success in the circle this weekend has been Riley Crandall, the transfer from Baylor.
Yeah, I agree. Riley Crandall for them, although it was Malin who they've relied heavily on through the majority of the year for the most innings. Really, I like what we've seen here with Riley Crandall. She throws the curve.
Hits and 12 runs. So perhaps, I think, when I said that, it's more so in the games where she pitched, the offense was more effective for Oklahoma State. So it has that feeling. The numbers don't bear that out, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's been really situational that we've watched her, and it's been the situation she's been in. She's done what she's needed to get the job done, and so I think that's why they're going to her now.
And that run total really took a jump yesterday. 3 1/3 against Indiana. She gave up 6 runs. The Hoosiers refused to go quietly with 3 seniors and the top 4 hitters in their lineup. So this is her 4th appearance of the weekend.
Well, and let's be honest. I mean, these pitchers are having to go to 2 of the hardest hitting teams with the best averages. Indiana Hoosiers were that team. They led the nation with batting average. And so I think when you're facing them, you know you're going to be tested. And so even for them, beating them was a big deal.
And she comes in here facing 8 and 9 in the lineup, the 2nd time through the order. So it's not entirely surprising because, as we talked about yesterday, 3rd time through, you might want to make that change anyway. But the Arkansas bottom part of the lineup has been amazingly effective, driving in 16 runs for hitters 5 through 9. Ball is in the dirt, and Rijo takes the extra base.
Well, and in order to win a national championship, although I know you do not look past game day, it's 1 pitch at a time, 1 game at a time, but in order to win any type of national championship, and that obviously is the idea for both these teams, you've got to have all parts of the lineup working. And right now, the bottom of the lineup being so hot, one of the things we talked about with these athletes was just like, you know, what is making you so good? And they said it's because in the past we feel like it's been, you know, 1 or 2 maybe in the middle of the lineup we've counted on, but here some days it's the top of the lineup, some days it's the bottom. Now here, with those numbers we just looked at, it's the bottom of the lineup doing the most damage.
Bouncer to short, and Bloodworth records the 1st out of the inning. Now, part of that too is that Bri Ellis is not seeing strikes. Now that she's not seeing them, they're not being thrown to her because she's walking so much. She walked 6 times. She was hit by a pitch earlier in her last plate appearance. And Reagan Kramer is drawing walks too. She's drawn 4 walks now in 2+ games, which is what she did all year. She was tied with Jocelyn Erickson at Florida, Danica Coffey at LSU for the 4th most walks in the SEC. So this is the bottom part of that lineup, just bringing their teammates around. Just out of reach over there at first base for Godwin, who had to measure her distance out of her periphery up against the edge of play. There is still a lot of energy here in this crowd. They had to wait more than 4 hours for this game to get underway. Oh, that is ripped to left field and out of the reach of that hoot. From the 9 spot, Carly Davison has an RBI double, and the bottom half of the Razorback 9 continues to obliterate the ball.
Well, we really did not see this type of consistency in yesterday's game with these 2 teams. It was not until the 6th inning that things got going, but right now we're seeing it throughout the lineup. What a swing by Davison. The pitch that is at her shoulders, she's able to get her barrel through and stay all the way through that ball. I mean, for a moment there, it looked like it might have been going out, so 9-hitter Davison doing her job to keep this rally going.
3 of the first 4 batters here in the inning have reached. Hitters 6 through 9 for Arkansas. 2 doubles and a single. And Riley Crandall waits as her head coach Kenny Gajewski comes out for conversation with home plate umpire Steve Gould. And we'll find out momentarily exactly what's going on there on the lineup card. Well, as we conclude an exciting weekend of college softball action, there are still tickets to be punched to Super Regionals, so don't miss a moment of the action with the best coverage from 7 Innings Live on the ESPN app. Every game, every big moment, exclusively on the ESPN networks. Well, the infield is in with 5 on the infield here. They bring in Hathout again from left field to try and slow down Reagan Johnson, who in the 3rd inning is up for the 3rd time. She's reached on an error and an infield single.
And she's so quick in that leadoff spot for them. And even in this situation with a runner in scoring position, you're going to see her go to that slap because she does utilize the hard slap. So if she's able to elevate it at all, she's able to hit it in the gap, and she hits it a long way.
She's also a tremendous athlete. They have a team challenge in the fall at the end of their time before a break. Won their challenge of swimming, lifting, running. And she is down, getting punched out with a call over at third base from Jonathan Dorst. So 2 away, still a runner at second with 2 runs across.
Coach Gasso, the hitting coach, told us that he felt like their team was a little tentative yesterday. You know, he said, I feel like we were almost too patient. And so our goal today, you see him talking to Ellis right there, but he just said our goal is to be a little more aggressive, like making sure that as soon as we see something that we think we can get barrel to, then we're going to attack it instead of waiting for the perfect pitch.
Just let it rip. Don't overthink it. So as Kenny Gajewski came out there, he has flip-flopped his defenders on the corners in the outfield. So Tia Warsip, who started the game in right, is now in left field, and Rachel Hathout goes from left field to right field. Warsip, the sophomore, great speed in left. And she's gonna have to get after this one in a hurry as it rolls all the way into the corner. It's another RBI double. The 3rd 2-base hit of the inning for Arkansas. Reagan Kramer with the RBI. 6-0 Hogs.
Well, they are feeling it right now. They are pumped up. There is a different energy level. Mike, wouldn't you say completely
100%.
different than yesterday in the game when these two teams were playing? Obviously, when you're doing well, you're getting that energy going, but outside pitch, taking it where it's given to you. Not trying to do too much with it, just poking it into that left field fence, down that line. Plenty of time to bring across another run.
And they're pitching to Bri Ellis. Still looking for her first hit of the NCAA tournament. So how about this from Arkansas? Coming out, make it down 6-0 as they come to the plate here in the 3rd. It's been 6 up and 6 down. Robin Herron doing it on just 17 pitches. So the bottom 3rd of the order, Rachel Hathout, Audrey Schneidmiller, Megan Bloodworth. And on pitch number 18, it's the 7th consecutive out to start tonight.
Well, I think this is the team that Coach Deifel is used to seeing out on the field. Yesterday, really slow start, went down, like you mentioned, to Oklahoma State, and they came back and found a way to pull out that walk-off win. But this is what has kept them at the top of the SEC this entire season.
Number 4 national seed, tying their best postseason ranking in the history of the program, which they did a couple of years ago in 2022. They've come up short of their own expectations the last couple of years. It was low-scoring games last year as they bowed out in the regional round. 3 games, lost at home at regionals 2 years ago, and then were defeated in super regionals for the 2 years preceding that. A lot on the line here for this team, trying to get to the World Series this year for the first time. But this step is the first. Just 1 win tonight. This game is all game 7.
Well, and I think that's why it was important a good jump tonight, because yesterday, you know, we talked to them going into this tournament. Nobody likes to go back, right? But we do learn from the past, right? And this team is different. And Coach DJ Gasso, we were talking with him as well as Coach Deifel and Coach Mike when we were talking to them, and they said, you know, yesterday, even as they got into later innings, they were reminding them, no, you are not that team. You are not the team to the past. And they said that they kind of felt the energy shift in the 6th inning yesterday.
Strike 3 looking. There goes Schneidmiller. Second strikeout for Robin Herring. But that energy, too, to get that back for a team, can that come from the top down, or does that come?
It has to come from within. Absolutely. The players, they got to buy in. They have to do that. And this is the pitch. We did not see this much of a break yesterday. The backdoor curve, so hard to read as a right-handed hitter when it's a left pitcher. And it's just breaking, so it looks like it's outside, but all of a sudden it's crossing and breaking across the plate for a strike in that outside corner. And I love the fact that it's knee height, right? She's putting exactly where she wants to. That's a hard pitch to hit at the hitter.
First.
Good rotation, a lot better today. Execution movement. Just, I really feel like we're seeing a different Robin Herring on the mound than we saw yesterday.
Facing Megan Bloodworth, who's 1 of 8 in the region. She'll make it 2 of 9. She goes to the opposite field. That's the first base hit. It comes with 2 outs. We're at the bottom of the fifth.
Megan Bloodworth seeing that pitch and then taking it to right field. That's exactly what you want to do with the outside curveball. They obviously have a setup that they're going for, but as a hitter, you're learning. As they're throwing you certain pitches, you're then looking for certain pitches.
Delgadillo pops it up. Miller makes the call and the catch. The efficient work of Robin Herring is aided by her battery and ran into one of the concession tents because the rain was blowing sideways. So if you weren't protected by a vinyl barrier, basically, you were going to get some. So for everybody, there'll be a good story after now the moment remains intense. Or in a poncho, either way. 1 ball, 1 strike to Courtney Day. Who a year ago did not have a vision that this is where she'd be. Tremendous career at the University of Texas. She transferred to the University of Mississippi, and in the fall, back issues kept creeping up. She was injured, wasn't able to do exactly what she wanted to do. The training staff told her, yeah, we can help you out. We can do what you need to do. Probably only going to be able to get you to a maintenance level, not going to be able to get you to a anybody who's ever had a back issue, you wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy because it impacts everything you do. And softball is such a physical game with what it requires in your body. Oh, what a grab at short! A dive by Bloodworth, who gives it all and gets the out.
Wow, Bloodworth was shaded towards the middle, and she goes quick to her backhand. This ball is a shot to her right side, complete extension, and holds on to this ball. What a play at shortstop. That's a good reaction right there.
Physical game.
I love just the athleticism. We've just seen some beautiful diving catches in the outfield, some perfect throws to the plate coming out of the field. Just so much athleticism in these athletes on the field.
You can't contain me, Summoner.
Bases are clear for Wyckoff, who has played in 6 teammates in the region. And a 6-0 Arkansas advantage. Scoops it out to left, and Worship takes down the second out of the inning. This is good here for Crandall because the first 3 innings, Arkansas sent at least 5 batters to the plate in every inning. They scored in 2 of the first 3. And she's trying to get them 1, 2, 3. But Ella McDowell has not been retired yet. 2 for 2 with an RBI.
0-2, that curveball outside. Using that off-speed pitch, the pitch to mix in, but I think it's hard, and we'll see if she wants to come inside and see if she can get her on her hands just a little bit. She's so deadly, pulling that ball so hard to the left side last time.
An ally has been slain.
Bri Ellis got her golden ticket this year on a day where, to put it simply, she was not feeling her best. She said she was just feeling a little bit nauseous that day. She'd thrown up a couple of times in the dugout, and so they're on the field after the game, and assistant coach Matt Michael comes up to her and he says, "Ready to, you can rally?" It's over Ellis's way, but she's called off by Davison to get Hassler for the first out here in the OK State fourth inning. And so Ellis gets turned around, and who is it but Kim Ng? And she receives her golden ticket. She's drafted second overall, and she's humble as they come. You know, SEC Player of the Year, but still thinking in the back of her head, man, I'd love to get one of those, but I don't know if I'm going to. Out of a year like this, it's going to happen, especially now as a top 10 finalist for Player of the Year. Two balls hit Davison's way. Makes quick work of the bowl.
Yeah, Bri Ellis was talking about at the beginning of the season. She was talking to her mom about it. She was like, you know, it's probably a reach to play postseason, you know, and to be able to have the chance to play pro ball. But I think as the season went on, she thought, okay, well, maybe I am having the type of season that will allow me the opportunity, and she's done just that.
Ellis also showed some wisdom in that. About her sister. Give up the keys to her sister because it just got to be a lot. You can understand anybody in the public spotlight. It comes with praise, but it also comes with criticism, and it comes with things uglier than criticism. And there's no need to, like you said, invite those things into your world, into your pocket, too. Another 1-2-3 inning for Robin Herron. She's done that in any inning tonight. More than 11 pitches. Allowed one hit.
Yeah, she's doing just so well against these Cowgirl hitters who yesterday were just finding the barrel. I mean, to me, like the difference that she's made, she's found new ways and to attack the zone and go right at them.
Winner of this regional will take on the winner of the Tucson regional. And it was very good news for the hosts there as the Arizona Wildcats picked up a win 10-1 over Ole Miss to force a winner-take-all Game 7 there. Now, it would be an interesting scenario if the hosts didn't win, because then you'd have two teams that were not national seeds who could potentially host a super regional. But as it's heading right now, it's working Arkansas's way here. That's a chopper through the right side for Atalia Rijo. She is 3 for 3 against Oklahoma State earlier this weekend. She was 4 for 4. There just must be something special she likes about playing the team from Stillwater.
In 3 games, she's gotten out 1 time. She was 1 for 2 in their first game with a walk against St. Louis. And even on the out that she did get out, it was a line drive to left field. So you talk about somebody right now who is as hot as they come, and it is Atalia Rijo in the 7th spot for the Razorbacks.
Kennedy Miller looking for her first hit. Already 9 of them on the board. Razorbacks have out-hit Oklahoma State 9-1. Bloodworth, who's made a diving catch tonight, makes much easier work of that. Winner of this regional, Arkansas, they will stay home next weekend. It's a
As you wish.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. "30 seconds until minions spawn.
They home next weekend. It's a best of 3 series for Super Regionals. Arizona Ole Miss playing a winner-take-all Game 7. That game getting underway shortly out in Tucson, where the ball flies out of the yard.
Minions have spawned.
So we start with 64 teams. After today, we'll be left with just 16, and then the 8 that go on to the World Series in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma, the Sooners, have won 4 in a row, a record. Carly Davidson batting 9th, and the count 1-1 from Crandall. Similar to earlier appearances for Crandall, comes in, takes a couple of batters to settle in, but she seems to have found her groove. She gave up that leadoff single to Rijo, but that came on the heels of a 1-2-3 inning. She's retired 5 of the last 6.
I am your worst nightmare.
Roll it to Davis, the backhand. And Bloodworth has no throw over to first base, but nice glove work there from Davis to get the quick turn.
One after giving up a double off the left field fence to Carly Davison. This time they go outside, and it's exactly what you're trying to do. Feed your defense. Davis over there all weekend long, just so strong at second base. Such smooth hands. Been involved in double plays over there, and really just that's what you do. You feed your defense as a pitcher. That's what you're trying to do. Keep it down so your defense can make the plays.
And the infield gains 1 here. 5 behind Crandall on the infield, 2 in the outfield. Field is wide open for Reagan Johnson. He reached on an error, singled, struck out the last time up in the 3rd inning, and bounces it. Played well, but it's safe over at first base. That's the power of speed.
And that is how good Reagan Johnson is. She has 3 defenders on the left side, and she's able to use the ground. That ball hops well up into the up, and as soon as that ball takes that high hop, Johnson has a chance to be on safe all day long. That's just bat control. We've seen her mix between using her power slap. She did her first at bat, hit it off a third baseman, Talon Edwards' hands, was able to get that hit. And from there, she just uses the ground. And that hop gives her plenty of time to beat it out.
Kramer with 2 on and 2 out. She's got a great eye, had an RBI double back in the 3rd inning. 2 runners on here, more significant. 2 base runners have been tonight. A 6-run advantage for Arkansas. Run rule threshold is 8. And that would put Oklahoma State backs against the wall in the bottom of the 5th inning. Instead, it's a simple ground ball over to Godwin, and the inning is over. So Arkansas strands 2, but they continue to make in the circle as she made the move from Stanford over to Texas Tech this year.
Well, and I think what's so fun with both of those athletes is they're able to do 2-way plays. Niza hasn't hit in every game, but she does it a lot, and she's also being home, you know, and so it's so exciting to not only see them be superstars in the circle and lead their teams, but also doing with the bat.
So far, just a single base hit for Oklahoma State, which yesterday was involved in the 3rd highest scoring NCAA tournament game ever. An unusual turn here for them as Robin Herron has been dialed in. She's thrown only 34 pitches, which is about what we saw for Ruby Malin in just the 1st inning alone. Malin in the 1st, 37. So
yeah, I think that's
JD Rutledge right on top of it.
Kind of tells you the story right there. 37 pitches in 1 inning, and then you see the efficiency with which Herron has been throwing. love the fact that Coach Seifel gave Heron their ace in the circle of the ball again. You mentioned it hadn't been her best outings against Oklahoma the way they finished up in the SEC tournament, and even yesterday against Oklahoma State, she's turned things around.
9 earned runs in her last 6 innings between the SEC tournament and here on regionals, and has been on the doorstep of perfect.
An ally has been
Second time she's gone to a full count. And Edwards has been out in front of a couple of these.
Well, and they were able to bring in Peyton Burnham, the freshman, who threw her first no-hitter in game 1 against St. Louis here that they faced. And for her to be able to come in when Heron was struggling a little bit, right, and be able to close the door and only give up 2 hits against the Cowgirls and pretty much shut them down and kept their team in it. They were able to get the win, and that gives the opportunity for Heron to come out and have a night like tonight.
We talked to Peyton Burnham after she threw a no-hitter against St. Louis, a 5-inning game. The freshman from Eugene, Oregon, feeling loose. He said, you know, when was the last time you threw a no-hitter? She said, I don't know, high school? That was less than a year ago.
I think it's a different feel when you're doing it here after she's faced the hitters in the SEC and just the team she's faced. I think it just feels a little different.
Most wins by a Razorback freshman since Mary Happ in 2017. And for as good as Heron has been, the defense behind her is also absolutely picking things up. Well, Tia Warsop coming up. And before the game, of course, we told you about the big weight. Well, here's her dad, Mark, doing the worm on the first base dugout. Chiropractors everywhere, ready to go and treat him. The letters are going to be coming in the mail like after you get a traffic ticket and the attorneys want to represent you in court. But I tell you what, that Oklahoma State fan base was energized and bringing it for the players who had the long wait too.
Yeah, the dugout was really loose. That long rain delay, you're not sure how people are going to react. They were very loose before the game.
And I don't know who it was, just maybe about 30 seconds after that, parent who will remain unnamed cracked a libation and gulped it down in about 30 seconds. You gotta stay warm. It's really nice. Started at 63 degrees our first pitch tonight. It is certainly sweatshirt weather here. Past the midway point of May. Not always what you expect. 61. Yeah, blanket was the right choice. As long as you didn't leave it out on the berm with a rainstorm.
An ally has been slain.
Warsop's got good speed, but Davison had better position.
Well, the fact that Heron is throwing that changeup twice to Slapper, you just see the difference. If you get out in front, you feed your defense. She's actually had 6 ground ball outs, 5 fly ball outs, so she's mixing up different parts of the zone. Hitters are not able to square it up really right now. And like you said, her defense behind her right now is doing their job. And that was the difference yesterday. When she was getting hit hard, her changeup was actually in the dirt a lot. And she wasn't using it as often because she didn't have as much command of it. And you see the difference. And even talking to Coach Seifel, she said that is her separator. And it's not a surprise when you're that's how good she is when she's able to move it, because it does have spin and it drops and she pulls it, she sells it really well. But as hitters, like, that's the thing, is like, okay, even if you sit on it knowing she throws it, it's hard to hit.
Only 5 of her 14 outs so far have been on the ground. She's got a couple of strikeouts, but she's induced really weak contact. She got 2 pop-ups in the second inning. She got Delgadillo to pop out on a bunt to end the third. And last inning, got 2 pop-outs. They just have not been able to square up against her tonight.
Oh, and that's it. Like you mentioned, it's a mix of both. Some pitchers will tend to be inducing more ground balls, or maybe they're more pop-ups, but she's really a mix, which says that she's using different parts of the zone, and these hitters, like you said, are not able to maybe sit on one corner and get their barrel there.
2-2 pitch. Foul down the line. And 7 of the outs have been to Davison at second base, whether through the air or on the ground.
An enemy has been slain.
Stiefel talked a lot about the team and the culture. I mean, she's always had such a great program since she stepped on campus here. But just said this year, you know, we opened up as coaches and as a staff a little bit more to them and kind of let them in, and we feel like that's made a positive difference with how they felt with us.
That's ball 4, first walk. Breaks up a string of 6 in a row. That's higher since the only hit she allowed to Megan Bloodworth. That's just, it's a trust factor too, to say, we're going to show you more of us, and we hope that it'll help you understand we're here to help you. We don't want to make things worse when you're down. We want to lift you up and help you get to the best of your capability.
Shut down.
Down 6.
Rampage.
The Cowgirls have had all of 2 base runners. 2 out for Audrey Schneidmiller.
Well, yeah, and as so many athletes, it's confidence that you build off. That's how you rise to your best. This game is always going to have ups and downs. It's how you respond to the hard times that matter most. When you have coaches that care, it's a little easier to do that. And you know, she said it's not like we haven't been open with them in the past, but there was just a different feel. And what you mentioned, when you do have more of that trust, like she said, we almost feel like it opened the door to challenge them harder and in different ways than maybe we've done in the past.
My favorite movie of all time is Office Space, and there's the scene where they're talking to the consultant, and the guy goes, well, you know, if I work hard and the company makes more money, I don't see another dime. So what's in it for me? But these players understand that collectively, there's a great reward at the end of the road. With the Supers on the line tonight, a trip to Oklahoma City on the line next weekend. That's a great example. What would you say you do here? Robin Herron's answer is get hitters out. Line drive center field, not even Johnson can get that one before it hits the turf. So Schneidmiller has their second base hit. First back-to-back base runners of the night as Oklahoma State looks to put together a rally here with the bottom part of the line.
And that's what you want to do. You want to start stringing at-bats together, 2 outs with your defense, you know, hey, we're not any base on the infield now, but offensively you try to build off of that momentum a little bit.
So Hadhoud at second, their first runner in scoring position for Bloodworth. That hits her. Well, they do have Peyton Burnham, the freshman, warming up in the bullpen here for Herron. So with the way she pitched for the first 4 2/3, she got the first 2 batters here in this inning. It would seem to reason that this inning will continue to belong to her.
Yeah, these coaches, they know how long that rope is that they'll allow. I think having this pitch run gives you some time to work with, allow her to work out of some of these situations, because I think it's one thing again to work with a big lead, and it's another when things start getting closer. So there's just good character. She's done it throughout the entire season, so now in the postseason this is another moment to grow from.
Top of the order, pinch hitter Michaela Ward, 1 for 2 off the bench. Here is a pinch hitter this weekend. Bases are full, down 6.
Enemy rampage.
And they have made Herron work. She threw 32 pitches over the first 4 innings. And now 26 in this 5th. Work is the 6th Cowgirl to hit.
That's that curve that she's been throwing on the outside of the plate. That one coming over a little bit more to the heart of it. She did have some break on it. You gotta be careful not giving anything to do this to work.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Here she goes to her best pitch, the changeup.
1-2, and just about everybody behind the third base dugout and inside of it thought it was strike 3.
Yeah, that was very close. Just outside. What an eye by Michaela Wark.
Flares it center field on the run. Davison goes all out to rob a base hit. Inning over.
I mean, as soon as that ball was off of her bat, the entire crowd went wild, and that ball she hit so high. I mean, and it was carrying so long. Look at everyone in the outfield saying, home run, home run. So much power. She knew by far it had the distance, but now was trying to wave it fair. And so you just see the reaction of being bummed that it did not stay fair for her.
So she remains at 26 home runs on the year. Tied for the SEC single season record. 475 during the regular season at the plate, 4th in Division I this year. And has not seen much in the way of good pitches. That line will show you 0 for 4, but also 6 walks and 3 runs. And they hit by pitch. In their second trip to the plate today. Nation's leader during the regular season and on base. Slugging. Their last home run was even more dramatic than that ball that she just hit foul, because it was a walk-off grand slam against Georgia in the SEC tournament. She hits this one real high again, but playable. And it's dropped by Godwin. Bree Ellis never gave up on it. Into second. And it's an error on the Oklahoma State first baseman.
Well, and you can't. As soon as you make contact, I mean, she hit that ball so high, you have got to be taking off. She ran it perfectly of exactly what you were doing. She was going all the way while that ball was carrying. And that's exactly the reason why you do not get frustrated if you hit a pop-up. You take off. She does it the right way, and she's standing up on second base now.
Although the rains have come and gone here, the wind has not vacated the premises, and that's what made that ball more difficult to play for Carly Godwin.
Well, I think it's a combination of how high it was hit, how dark it is, right? You're playing with the lights, and then on top of it, what you mentioned, as well as the wind. I know if you're Carly Godwin, you're thinking, I have to have that, but there are those other factors in play as well. You don't see as many balls being hit as high, and you just got to stick with that all the way down.
You were saying the other day that at Arizona, one of the things you would practice is playing with the sun at different times of day, with a ball hit high in the air to make sure that you are ready in any situation. Trouble is here, for Oklahoma State, this is not their home venue.
Yeah, and even when they got to postseason, we were likely later in the season to play more night games. We actually would have practice as well in the light, because it's just different. Different settings are different, right? The lights obviously are where they are, but it's still a different read out.
We weren't supposed to have light. It was just supposed to be active.
we really were supposed to. Those clouds came in and they made it dark for a while, then it cleared up and got light again, and now here we are a little bit later playing some softball.
4-hour, 15-minute delay before the start of this game. It's 2-2 to Courtney Day. And she chases on a ball in the dirt. She is down on strike.
Good snag behind the plate by Schneidmiller to not only scoop that out of the dirt, but also to put that tag on Courtney Day.
Ten hits for the Razorbacks. Wyckoff looking for a first of the game.
Into battle.
see them putting in a pinch runner for Brie Ellis. Yet.
They got here by virtue of a shutout win over St. Louis, the first time NCAA tournament entrance out of the Atlantic 10, and then had a come-from-behind victory against Oklahoma State yesterday, 6-5. Cowgirls put it on Indiana in their first game, then that loss against Arkansas yesterday, the record-setting 16-8 victory. That they have not exhausted what their offense can bring. There's a lot on the line here. Eddie Gayaski felt like the pressure's on Arkansas. The other team that's expected to be here at number 4 national seed. But the expectations were high for Oklahoma State to begin the season. It's a big blow for the first time. They're on the verge of having a streak of 9 straight trips to the World Series here tonight in Fayetteville. Godwin has trouble with the ball. Everybody's safe. It's first and third.
This is where it gets tough for a pitcher like Riley Crandall, really throwing, allowing her defense to work behind her. This ball is hit hard, but it's a true hopper, and it's that second hopper that Godwin is just not able to come up with. She was set in her feet, didn't really move them at all, and sometimes it's hard to read whether they're going to make it a short hop or a long hop. So I think there's probably a little frustration over there. Obviously, if you're Arkansas, you might be able to do this early.
Guy with a third of the game charged to Oklahoma State. The first plate appearance of the night was there. Reagan Johnson on the inside. That Arkansas dugout on the first base side. Second base run.
Well, these 2 runs matter. They're up 6-0. If they can put 2 runs across in this inning, then they have a chance to end it early if they can go out and get 3 outs without Oklahoma State scoring. So speed on the bases. Wouldn't be surprised to see something right now to see if they can try to get on the steal and put them both in scoring position.
The field is shallow. Want that play to the plate. Try and help extend this game to be as long as it can possibly be.
These 2 hitters up, Ella McDowell and Riho behind her, are the 2 hottest hitters right now in this lineup. So this is who you want in this situation.
McDowell was 1 for 6 coming into this game. And today, RBI single, double, came in to score when Riho brought her home. She's succeeding at that in the 3rd inning. Where Oklahoma State can double forward mistakes. 3 errors open the door for Arkansas here in the 6th. Winner here sees the winner. 2-2 for McDowell.
Well, McDowell came up yesterday after being 0 for 3, and it was in that 7th inning that at her at bat there were 2 outs, and she was the one that got the RBI that allowed them to score. So what a clutch time. I mean, that was her first hit of the weekend, but it came at the right moment.
This roller is enough to get the job done to bring a run home, and she beats out the throw at first base.
Double kill.
7-0.
Well, and that's a missed hit ball because of how soft she hits it. She has time to beat it out, and so as soon as she contacts it, she stops.
State ball at first base.
Andy Gayaski used faces a challenge on that. Looking to grab it out where you can here. Still not run rule territory, but a 7-0 advantage. Big Bang play over at first base. I think there is an overturn change for now. Still a runner in scoring position, with Walker moving from first to second and Riho coming up.
Well, McDowell is moving and she gets there at the same time. I think the question, as you see her make contact, not with the very front of the bag, but just on the front half of the bag.
The heel.
Yeah,
the heel is down.
I think it's, I mean, in real time, it looked like she was absolutely safe. Watch it here, it's close. I think she's safe.
It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call of safe on the field. You're looking for the ball to get into the back of Godwin's glove before the foot touches the base. And I don't think the evidence supports what the Cowgirls want to see.
Yeah, and I think at the same time, if you're Coach Gajewski, you have to make this call and say we want to review it, because he has not used any of his challenges yet, and he has 2 that are available to him, and this is a moment that does matter.
So here in this game, it was a big punch to start. 3 runs in the first for Arkansas, 3 more in the third. They were held scoreless in the 4th and the 5th. And so far, 1 has scored here in the 6th. They've picked up 11 hits. Oklahoma State, just 2 base hits. They've been charged with 3 errors, and a win for Arkansas secures their spot in the Super Regionals. Call on the field was safe at first base.
The call of first base is being upheld. We have safe. That's Oklahoma State's first challenge.
So it goes down as an RBI infield single for Ella McDowell, who triples her weekend hit total and picks up her 2nd RBI.
You see the energy in that dugout. They are having fun. They are relaxed. Coach Deifel has been saying that's what I want them to be and how to stay. Lots of smiles, of course, with the 7-0 lead. You like your chances, and you're getting closer and closer. And look at those numbers, 7 for 7. She had that home run in the game that I feel like changed the momentum yesterday late in the innings when they were down against Oklahoma State. Yeah, I don't know that I've been 7 for 7. I still have the record at the Women's College World Series, but I don't know if Riho gets there. I'm concerned now. If she's in Oklahoma City, I'll be watching her.
A record, well, they say records are made to be broken, but that's if they belong to somebody else, not if they belong to you.
Yes, not mine.
Number 1 national seed, Texas A&M. Took Liberty to the wire in a high-scoring game earlier, and now top 6. It is tied at 3. The winner of that game advances, and A&M finds itself in a tough spot. So we'll keep you updated on that as the night goes along, with these last few spots up for grabs in Supers. One to Riho.
Yeah, Talia Riho came up, and this to me was the moment that things started shifting. She got all of this ball turned on it. It was pretty dead before that. Things were not happening, and then it was the next inning where they were able to get back and tie the game.
Up the first baseline, and she's safe at first base. What was going on over there? Bobby DeMeo, the umpire, looked like he was walking off toward the tarp and didn't make a call at first base. And Riho slowed down and then re-accelerated into the bag.
Yeah, I think she reacted thinking it was a foul ball at that moment, because she slowed down, and at that point it becomes a foot race to the bag.
And that's why Kenny Gajewski's coming out of the dugout saying, hey, your fellow crewmate abdicated his responsibility to make a clear call at first base.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's very confusing as a hitter because of how far first baseman Carly Godwin was playing behind the bag. when she fielded that ball. And even with Rio
Oklahoma
slowing
State
down.
is challenging the fair call.
Even with Rio slowing down, she ends up being safe. Basically, they get to the bag at the same time.
That was just bizarre over there at first base. And it's one of those borderline balls up the line where you don't know whether it's going to end up staying fair. And so did it kick to the right of the bag? Because it takes a bounce right at the bag, but did it hit something in the dirt or did it hit the base? Because if the latter is true, then it's a fair ball, but the umpire's not even looking at the base.
Yeah, and that's his call to make, because obviously that is why Riho slowed down, I think, at that point thinking, but you're right, did it hit the bag, and is that why it changed direction, or was it just foul? He needs to make that call, but instead his back is to the field.
To Summoner's Rift.
And then he
Really
calls
bizarre.
safe after the fact.
That's bizarre.
Very confusing, and what you just mentioned, he needs
30
to
seconds
make
until
that
minions
call.
spawn.
So if it's fair, she is safe.
Right, the bases will be loaded. There's still just going to be one out, and it'll be Kennedy Miller coming up. So with the ball going up the line, they're going to take a great look at this back at the Replay Review Center in Pittsburgh with a bouncing ball, and they're going to zoom in on it and try and make the determination of whether this ball goes to the right of the base or if it
Minions
skips
have
off of the
spawned.
base. So it hits its apex, it comes down, and that bounce there. See, that's a higher bounce. See how it bounces higher than that? Makes you think that it may have hit off the base, which is a bit more spongy.
Well, and I don't think Riho could tell either, because obviously at that point, if you do see that, then you're going to sprint that out. And so it's really hard to tell if it made
First
contact
blood.
or if it was just foul. I mean, the dirt, you see the dirt move, but is it hitting the side? I don't, this is,
Well, we have to go back to what the letter of the law is, and you just pull the string in my back, and I keep saying it. Indisputable video evidence there, and I think it's 50-50. You can't really tell whether the ball hits the base.
yeah, I think you have to be very clear that it was absolutely foul in order to take away and change that call from her being safe.
Not that they need a pickup at this point, but the Arkansas Razorbacks, twice in this inning, have run out balls in play. Bree Ellis started the inning with a pop-up to first base that ended up being dropped. She didn't give up on it. She goes into second base, and Riho there could have easily just said, oh, it's probably going to be a foul ball, and I'm going to stop running on it, and instead goes through the bag, wins the foot race with Godwin. As it stands now, bases loaded, one out, Arkansas. Here's the call.
Fair ball has been upheld. That is Oklahoma State second down.
So one more run, and it's run rule territory here. Arkansas leading Oklahoma State. They've got no challenges left in the first base left.
And Italia Riho is 8 for 8 now. Let's just make that comment right now.
Against Oklahoma State here this weekend.
Yes, both of the games.
Bases are full for the catcher, Kennedy Miller. And as we saw just 2 batters ago with Ella McCall, even weak contact can be enough to get the job done here. Remember, they pinch ran for Kaylee Wyckoff to get more speed on the bases, bringing in Walker at third base. As the drama continues to build here, it does as well. The Liberty Flames putting pressure on #1 national seed Texas A&M, up 6-3, top 6.
I think everyone is watching what's happening right now with that game in particular, because I think it will shock the world. I actually talked to Coach Richardson before this weekend, and she said, hey, going to the #1 seed, but I think we can do it.
An enemy has been slain.
Count is 3-1 here with the bases full. That was a big pitch. But just for historical reference, and by historical I mean a couple hours ago, Liberty was up 6-0 at the end of 2, and then ended up losing their game earlier today, 14-11 to the Aggies. One is tipped right into Schneidmiller's throw. 3-2.
Well, in our games here, I mean, we've seen how quickly things change. Now, right now, the Razorbacks, I think they're feeling very good, and I think this stadium is full of people because we're advancing.
Shut down.
Payoff pitch, and it's into right field, a base hit. Walker scores, McDowell scores, and Rijo holds at third base. 2 runs driven in by Kennedy Miller. 9-0 Razorbacks.
Well, and Coach Deifel is so excited going out to give a high five to Kennedy Miller, their catcher, who she said has been sticking it out. She said this year has not been her best year, but lately we have seen her hitting the ball like we know Kennedy Miller can. And this is what she's talking about. She takes this ball to the right center gap, brings across 2 runs, is able to get a double. This team, I mean, they are so excited right now, and they have every reason to be. They look as good as can be at the most important moment.
They bring in their 3rd pinch runner of the inning as Ava Carter takes Miller's place at second base.
Into battle.
9-0 Arkansas. Oklahoma State will need to score in the bottom of this inning, but first they've got to get out of the top of the inning. Harley Davidson, the infield in, 2 runners on. Energetic swing.
When Kennedy Miller had fouled off that pitch, rise ball, really good movement on that ball, but then gets a better offering. And that's what it's about. It's which the next one. What can you do with it? And you just love to see her continuing to commit in the bottom of the lineup. Hadn't been able to get a hit, although her first at bat she did walk, but comes up really big in that moment.
This'll be a slaughter.
Continues to be a lineup where the bottom half delivers their 3rd 3-run inning. The 1st, the 3rd, and the 6th. All with 3 spots.
As you wish. Into battle.
And looking at the scorebook, we've been talking about the bottom half of this lineup. 7 of the 9 RBIs come from 6, 7, 8. I think that says so much. 7 of the RBIs, they are doing their job.
Uh-oh! That is way out of here! How many RBIs in the bottom of the lineup? Harley Davidson adds to that total. Her 4th home run of the year, her biggest one yet. It's 12-0.
And make that 10 RBIs for the bottom half of the lineup. What a shot to left field. So much excitement in that dugout. Everybody coming out. Because Harley Davidson gets all of this. She took that deep. Very quick bat speed, got an inside pitch up in the zone. It was a no-doubter. So much celebration. I mean, that feels so good. So much fun to be in this situation, knowing that you are not going to be like teams that have struggled to get out of regionals at home.
Their highest scoring NCAA tournament game ever. And there's still only 1 out of the inning as Reagan Johnson becomes the 8th batter to hit. And that she is put out over at first base. So the Razorbacks and their quest to get to the World Series for the first time. This is a statement. This is something to build on. This is the way to finish a round.
Well, and this is what you want to take it day to day, game to game, but at the same time, you want your bats working. And today, they have every aspect. Defense, we've got pitching in the circle, Robin Herring, and now their bats. One of the things we talked about as well, Mike, was not just scoring early and then cruising. And you've seen them score in the first inning, third inning, and then now here in the sixth inning, 6 runs.
Their lessons from the SEC tournament semifinal loss against Oklahoma. The preeminent team that will teach you that lesson if you don't make a mark. Or if you do and it's not enough.
You have slain an enemy.
In 2022, Arkansas scored 26 in the regional round. That was also the last time they went to Supers. Now this year, 28. And they're 3 outs away, bottom of the 6th. From going to Supers once again.
Rise ball when she needs it. Really looking like the Robin Herring this team knows she's capable of.
Will fall soon. An enemy is unstoppable.
Best power hitter comes to the plate here for Oklahoma State, Amanda Hassler. But they need more offensive pressure for Swinton and out of their first 5. Because in order to send this team to the 7th inning, they've got to score at least 5 runs. So far, they have 2 hits. So, an Arkansas win means they stay home next weekend as the number 4 national seed. And as the bracket breaks down, they're matched up with the winner of the Tucson Regional, which is TBD. It'll be either Arizona or Ole Miss. And at the top of the 2nd inning, it's the Rebels 4 and the Wildcats 2. 2 home runs in the top of the 1st for Ole Miss in that game. And so that could be, if the Rebels do win, yet another SEC showdown, which statistically speaking is not all that surprising, as the SEC broke its own record as far as teams sent into this round. Every team in the league made it, save for Missouri.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they go into postseason battle tested by competing against each other, and these are top teams in the country, you're just that much more prepared, you're more confident, and I feel like you see different pitchers that you're thinking, okay, I've already seen you, or I'm better than you.
And an Arkansas win would make it 8 SEC teams in the Supers. Florida, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Oklahoma, and South Carolina so far.
Enemy rampage.
Deep to short for Riho, who retreated, and Bree Ellis digs it out of the dirt. They had their first no-hitter here. It came from a freshman, Peyton Burnham, who they gave the start in game number 1. Most runs in a regional and NCAA tournament game, and now trying to get their first run rule win in a regional final. That's where you think it's the hardest to do it. And yet today, they had the accelerator to the floor from the game's first pitch.
Well, a win's a win, but honestly, you want to see your team putting up a lot of runs, and that's what they're doing here with these 12 runs. And then the fact so you're not allowing the other team to score. You're getting the pitching that you have. You're getting defensive plays. I think Bree Ellis wanted to say, like, hey, look, guys, I'm over here. I play first. She's helping her team out. Italia Riho by digging that ball out, and that's what you like to see, picking each other up. So well-rounded tonight. And in order to advance, to get to Oklahoma City, you really do need all 3 aspects of the game working for you.
Rosie Davis provides a spark. Oklahoma State has a runner at first with 1 out. How's this for confusing? Assuming that it would be Ole Miss that would come here next weekend. They played March 7th, 8th, and 9th. First 2 games, 9-1 favor of the Rebels, 9-3 in the next game, and then like going into a rage room and just smashing glass and bottles and windshields. Arkansas wins 20-3 in the third game.
Yeah, and really that was a time in the season that Arkansas had gotten off to a really strong start, and then they kind of hit that situation with Ole Miss, and then Oklahoma 3 losses in a row.
That was where they lost 5 of their first 6. Johnson went back, comes in, she makes the catch, and it's a chance for a game-winning double play. That's how it ends. The Arkansas Razorbacks are headed back to Super Regionals, and they stay home one more weekend.
What a finish, what a moment. Rosie Davis, I think, thinking there were already 2 outs, but that catch in center field by Reagan Johnson, and then finishing the play, Bri Ellis over at first base,